I want to talk about happiness, which is this elusive thing that all of us want but can't always have. My name is Kit, and I'm diagnosed with something called schizoaffective disorder, which means that I experience symptoms of schizophrenia, such as delusions, hallucinations, but also symptoms of a mood disorder such as bipolar or major depression. Something I struggle with a lot is happiness, especially as a mentally ill person that experiences quite a lot of depression. But the truth is that a lot of us struggle with happiness, mentally ill or not. I mean, I see people on social media all the time smiling and laughing, and I think to myself, I want that. I want something that will make me that happy. Why can't I have that? And let me tell you guys, comparison is the thief of joy. And so I'll let you in on a little secret. Happiness never lasts forever. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody else. It comes and goes in waves. That's normal. It's normal to not be happy all the time. So as hard as you try, as hard as I try, neither of us will be happy all the time. And realizing that is honestly sobering. And I thought years ago, in the early stages of my disorder, that when I got stable, then I would be happy. It was always get stable, then happiness will follow. But when I did get stable, I wasn't as happy as I thought I'd be. I would still have spurts here and there, but it wasn't constant. It was unpredictable, and it never lasted, and I hated that. And I still actually struggled with quite a lot of depression. Most schizoaffectives do, and that state only amplified the lack of happiness I did have and emphasized how empty I would feel at the end of the day. And that emptiness felt like failure. And it would linger and linger and linger, and then eventually it would lift. I would get euthymic, I would have normal mood, and then sooner or later the manic depressive mood cycle will start back up again. And the thing is, I would even feel that empty feeling when I was manic, and mania is supposed to be this happy all the time state, right? And so if I couldn't be constantly happy when I was manic, then could I ever be happy in general? Like what was going on there? But a few years ago, something changed. I went through something called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, as it's also commonly called. This therapy taught me skills that I use to build a life worth living. Basically, I figured out a way to get up in the morning and have a life that was worth getting up for, if that makes sense. And it was gradual, but that empty feeling that I described earlier slowly went away the more I put those skills to use. I didn't really focus much on happiness because I was just trying to get stable. I was glad not to be in the pit of despair every day when I woke up. I was glad that my days started becoming more predictable, more simple, more under my control. I was glad to not have every day be some fresh new circle of hell that my brain decided to concoct the night before. And so my quest for happiness dissolved, and it went away for years, until about 4 months ago. I started hearing this voice, and I don't mean voice in the back of my head, I mean literally voice in my head. I have a psychotic disorder, I'm talking about psychosis. And this voice is almost like a reoccurring comment, if you will. And it's like if I do something like hang out with a friend, have a lot of fun, go buy something I like at the store, buy something online that makes me, feel better about myself, and it just always says to me, are you happy? Are you really happy? And at first it pissed me off because immediately my answer was always no. The nature of my voices is that they're inside my head like thoughts. So naturally my thoughts are open game for answers and whatnot. So it's not like I can think in my head before I say it out loud. It's whatever my brain supplies is what I say. So me immediately saying no is just a reminder of how not happy I was. But at the same time, it also confused me. Because yes, I would hear this voice when I was depressed, where of course you're not supposed to be happy. You're depressed, right? But even when I was in stable mood states, when I was euthymic, I would also immediately say no to that voice. And that confused me. Because when I was stable, that's the state where I should be happy, right? Like where was the happiness? But at the same time, even saying that, I was still okay mentally. So what was exactly going on? If I wasn't happy, then what was it? And so this took a while. I noodled on it for a very, very, very long time before I figured out what it was. And eventually I got the answer. The answer was contentment. I wasn't happy, no, but I was content. And the thing is, that was enough. Because contentment, unlike happiness, is something that you actually can have most of the time. It's something to strive for. It's something to find comfort in. It's something to love and accept. For me, contentment is almost a lesser, more sustainable form of happiness. It's this feeling of peace in my life, a sense of balance. And trust me, as someone with schizoaffective disorder, I crave balance in all aspects of my life. And some people will say that contentment and happiness are the same thing. And I don't think they are, because for me personally, when I'm happy, I'm really happy. Like, I'm jump up and down emotional intensity times 10 levels of happy. Like, I feel everything intensely anyway, but happiness is very, very, very strong when it happens. And I definitely don't have that all the time. And I do find there's a split between like what I feel on a day-to-day basis being content and then what I feel when I am like elated with happiness. So those are two separate things for me, but some people use them interchangeably. And if that works for you, it works for you. And so now when that voice shows up and asks me, are you really happy? I say no, and it doesn't matter because I'm content. And occasionally I'll throw in an expletive on the end of that, but that's beside the point. And with all this contentment, sometimes I actually do get lucky and it does become some short-lived happiness that I grab by the horns and enjoy. So guys, strive for contentment, strive for satisfaction, because that's what's gonna keep you going in the long term. And when happiness comes, give it a big hug and have some fun. But now I want to talk about what exactly do I do to have this content life? How do I maintain this sense of contentment and satisfaction in most of what I do? And here's how I do it. At its core, it's 5 things. So the first thing is I actively stop trying to compare myself to others. Like I said in the beginning of this video, comparison is the thief of joy. I'll put down my phone, I'll make sure I don't check any social media, and then I'll do the second thing, which is to focus on the moment. I practice this thing called mindfulness, and it's something I originally heard about and learned in DBT, but mindfulness is all over the world in many different cultures. It's the art of basically living in the moment. I take active steps to focus on the present, ignore the past, and not worry about the future. And there is a link in the description to more information about this extremely beneficial practice, so if you want to learn more, go there after this video. The third thing is that I use a DBT skill, I know, shocker, called accumulate positive experiences. And it's honestly what it sounds like. You basically do positive things in your life, whether it's taking a hot bath, cuddling with a stuffed animal, going out to eat with someone you care about, hanging out with friends, basically things that you enjoy doing. And say you do one of those things once a day for a whole week. At the end of the week, you've accumulated 7 amazing experiences, and suddenly you look back on your life and you go, dang, I have a life worth living. And it's a really cool thing to experience for the first time. And I highly suggest, in order to focus on the present and enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, basically have something every single day put aside for you that you know you will enjoy. And then suddenly you'll have a reason to get up in the morning. It's honestly amazing how life-changing it is. It's one of my favorite skills. And the last thing I'll say on this one is that it's not always big things that you need to accumulate. Sometimes it's little stuff, like having your favorite cup of coffee in the morning, and it's sometimes those little things that actually mean more than the big things. And I think that's really important to know, because like once I did fly to Japan on a very sudden trip, and while that was an amazing experience that I was happy to accumulate, at the same time, sometimes my favorite cup of tea means more to me than that trip, if that makes sense. So the fourth thing is I quit judging myself and accept myself and love myself for who I am, both appearance, personality, everything. I'm quirky, and that's okay. Trying to be someone I'm not or live up to an impossible ideal is not gonna help me get that contentment that I'm striving for. So I just don't do it. And my final tip, this is the most important tip. If you learn one thing from this video, I want it to be this tip, and it's that to practice gratitude. Every single day, I either write in a notebook or say actively out loud things that I am grateful for. I find that I actually start doing it throughout the day, and it's amazing how much better I feel once I really started doing this. And to me, this is the key. Being grateful for what you have really helps you be content with what you have. And when you're content with what you have, well, you're content, and that's really where the good stuff of life is. And so I'd say try these 5 things. You might be amazed at what it can do for you. So now I'm going to turn it over to you. Since gratitude is such a big thing for me, I want to ask you, what is one thing you're grateful for right now? I'll start. I'm grateful for my medications. I'm grateful that medicine has made it possible for me to live a good life with the help of modern pharmaceuticals. And with that out of the way, it is now your turn. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.